Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to show you how to install system updates using Ansible, targeting multiple hosts and creating a statement to check if the system requires to be rebooted or not. That way you can also automate that process. This is very helpful if you install updates once a week, once a month. You can automate this process and do it hands-free at that point. So first of all, let's go ahead and go over the environment. So let's see, my Ansible configuration file looks like this. Ansible config file. There's my inventory, remote user. I'm not using roles right now. I have become set to true. So that's fine, okay. And for host, cat inventory host, I'm going to be targeting my servers A through D and my GitLab server, just to show as an example that multiple hosts can be targeted for this particular task. So let's get started. So let's go ahead and create the playbook. So we'll do vim playbooks. We'll give it a name, system updates.yaml, and we'll start creating the body of this YAML playbook. Okay, we're going to give it a name. Install system updates. Again, you can name this whatever you want. Host, that's going to be our target host. We're going to target everything within the inventory file. We want to set become to true, even though I already have it set to true in my Ansible config file. Just as a demonstration, I want to show it that you can do it here as well. This is a good option. So if you can also set it to false, even though if your Ansible config file says true, but then if you set up this variable over here to false, then you won't sudo up, and that's good to know, because you don't always want to sudo up to when you're running a playbook or doing any type of task on a system. You should only sudo up when it's really necessary. So we'll set that to true and we'll initiate our tasks. So the first task obviously is going to be to update packages or install updates, whatever you want to name it. Install system updates. There's two different modules that you can use. You can use the young module or the DNF module. With later systems from RHEL 8, even with I believe RHEL 7 as well, DNF became available. I'm used to using DNF now instead of the young module. So we'll just do that. Ansible built-in DNF with the option or attribute name. Here you can specify a specific package you want to update. So if you want to update HTTPD, you can just give it that name, or firewall D. You can do that as well. But since we want to search for updates for everything within the system, we'll use the flag star, which means everything, and we want the latest updates. So we want everything to be up to date. Sorry, so we want state to be latest. So that's as simple as you can get to install system updates. This right here will work. You don't have to do anything else. But if you want to, do additional checks, if you want to check if a system needs to be rebooted, then we can do some additional steps. So we'll check for that now. Check if reboot is required. We'll run a command on the manage host. So we'll do Ansible built-in command, and the command we want to run is needs restarting -r. So I'll show you what the -r means. So if we do min page needs restarting, so basically needs restarting, redirect to DNF, needs restarting plugin, and over here we can see the options. So -r means Rebooting. Only report whether a reboot is required. Exit code 1 or not exit code 0. And you'll see when this comes in place when I do the next check, when I tell it 1 or 0. Okay, so we'll go back to the playbook. We want to register that output. So we'll do register, reboot require. We want to do change when false. So what this means is it prevents the task from being marked as changed since the output is only used for conditional logic. And we want this to fail, this particular task. We want it to fail when reboot require, which is the variable that we're going to register, not in the values 0 or 1. And those are the values that we saw in the main page. So anything else, any other value, we want this task to fail and not continue with it. So now we're going to use that output. So we're going to create a new task for reboot the system if needed. We're going to use the reboot module, Ansible built-in reboot, and we're gonna output a message to sender output, so that if there's a user logged into that particular system, they'll see this reboot initiated. And let's add some extra attributes in here. Connect timeout 5. I'll explain these attributes in a minute. Reboot timeout 600. We'll do pre reboot delay. We'll set that to 0. And we'll do pre post reboot delayed, and we're going to set this to 30. And we want this to run when reboot require, which is the variable we register the output from the needs restarting command, it's equal to 1. If you remember, when we pulled out the main page for that command, we saw that the number 1 indicates that a reboot is required. So only when that output is true to 1, then the system's going to reboot by itself. And let's go over a few of these attributes. We'll look at the main page, or the documentation page for Ansible, I'm sorry. So we'll do Ansible DLC reboot. And we are doing connect timeout. That's one of the options we're using. So again, if you want to find out more, documentation for Ansible, it's great. You can look it up, and not all the options are necessary. Here's the MSG attribute. Basically, just output a message to extend their output. You can see post reboot, pre reboot delays, and at the end, you can also look at examples. So if you're not sure how to use a particular module, you can always go back to the documentation and look at the examples, and it'll give you a good idea as to how to implement it. So let's check for system for syntax errors. Playbooks, system updates. There's our syntax check, and I do have a syntax error. It says the error appears to be the file depend syntax problem. So let's take a look at it. Check if reboot is required. Ansible. Built-in command Register, reboot, change when false. What is it complaining about? So I'm gonna pause the video real quick just to try to troubleshoot here. I'll be back in a few. Okay, I'm back. And I had a typo. So I'm missing letter D. Let's try that one more time. Let's run a check. Syntax check. And it seems to be okay. So now let's run the playbook in check mode against the target host. So what the dash C, what it does, it runs the playbook without actually applying any of the tasks to the target host, but it'll give us an idea if there's any other issues that are non-syntax related. So over here we can see we're able to get to the servers that we're targeting. Now we're going through the task to install updates. We can see that only GitLab has updates to be installed. Okay, and just to prove, before I run the actual playbook, I'm gonna SSH to GitLab, sudo dnf update, and indeed we do see that there's quite a bit of an update, so this is gonna take a while to install, but I'm not gonna run that. I'm also gonna run the needs restarting command, and we can see right now it says reboot should not be necessary, meaning there's no need to run it, which is good. So we'll go back over here and we're going to run this playbook. Again, this is going to take a few minutes, probably a while once it gets to installing the system update. So I'm going to pause the video just until that gets done. So you can see server A, B, C, and D. There's nothing to do. There's no system updates. But it's going to pause here for a while because at this point it's targeting the GitLab server and it's installing those updates. So I'm going to pause the video until this particular task is completed, and I'll show you the rest once that's done. Okay, so here we go. So you completed you completed installing the updates in the system. I do see an error up here, but I believe it's for server D. Okay, I know why, because the command is not in there, but I do know it's in GitLab, which is running right now. So right now it's actually rebooting the system if needed, and it's going to wait 600 seconds before that task completes. And I'll go through this once the playbook is done. So server A, server B, D and C do not have needs restarting. They don't have that command installed. Okay, that's fine. And there we go. So it came back up. There's two change, meaning the system updates were installed and it rebooted. Set to true. And just to test that, we'll go back to GitLab. And let's check if there's any updates. Sudo dnf update. Let's see. And as we can see, there's no updates available anymore, meaning the system is up to date. Okay. And I guess I can check. Let's check server A. needs restarting -r command not found. So that's why that failed. I believe install yum utils. I believe that command is part of the utilities, the yum utils package. So just to confirm that, we'll install that. Now if I run this, that should work. Yep, reboot is required to fully, okay. So I guess I did install updates on this system not too long ago, and there was a kernel update. But as you can see, that's the reason why that task failed on those servers, but they're good to go now. Sudo dnf updates. There should not be any updates available. Yeah, there's no update. So basically, I haven't restarted this system since the last update, so I should probably do that. Okay, so there you have it. I'll go back to the playbook. Again, here's the initial play, install system updates, targeting all the hosts within my inventory host file. Become was set to true, so we can sudo up. Under tasks is when we identify the tasks that we want to run against the managed host. In here, we run in the DNF module, targeting everything within the managed host and setting them up to the latest, meaning update the system. Then the next task is to check if reboot is required by running this particular command on the managed host on server A through D and GitLab. We run the needs restarting -r. Then we register that output, which it was either 0 or 1, to this variable that I'm naming reboot required. Then we set this to fail if that output was not either 0 or 1, because anything else, then it would have been something, a different issue going on that we would have to fix. And last is to actually reboot the server if the variable reboot require was equal to 1, meaning that it did require a system restart. Again, I hope this was helpful. It's a nice tool to have, if you have multiple systems that you need to update once a week or once a month. I mean, having one system, you can do that using SSH. So having 5 systems, but then if you have hundreds or thousands of systems that you need to update, then you might want to start looking into automating that task. Other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.